Welcome to the Expansion Codes podcast. I'm Bianca O'Onnell, and I am the person that strong people call the ones who are busy being strong for everyone else. And yet, the other week, I was the one falling apart in a KFC car park, totally frozen, 4 kids running feral, couldn't even order a $3 taco, couldn't make a single decision. I had to get my husband to come and pick them up. Now, this is from me, is the person who has represented Australia in 6 different sports. I have given birth to triplets, and I have a somatic training background. I know what dysregulation looks like. I teach this stuff, and I still slid off the cliff without noticing. And that's what this episode is about. What AI is quietly doing to high performers right now. We're compressing weeks and months and even years into hours, but our nervous systems haven't caught up to actually embody and integrate the avalanche of information that's coming to us from all angles. And the better that you are at functioning through it, the less you notice it's happening. And this is where your capacity as a high performer is the very thing that hides the problem from you until it's too late, until it all comes crashing down. And if that line landed for you, this episode is for you because I want to highlight to you the places where this can creep up for you. And I'm also going to take you through a 10-minute anchoring your authority somatic clearing exercise so that you can find that spaciousness, stand back and push back and just claim those energetic boundaries for yourself. Now, this is a general clearing that's going to help you no matter where you are right now. If you are a high performing entrepreneurial woman who has many roles pulling you in multiple directions, but if you would like me to map exactly where you're leaking capacity and what's hijacking your nervous system, I do a diagnostic reading and clearing called the Reset Your Threshold Blueprint. The link's in the show notes. So definitely grab that. That's where you're going to get my eyes on what's going on for you so you can find out where you're leaking your capacity, reset your threshold, anchor into your authority, and reclaim that power. But first, let's get into the episode today. Well, hello, my friends, coming to you in this episode of Expansion Codes. And I wanted to follow up. Recently, I sent out an email saying, I'm not okay. And it was really alluding to what I see going on out there, not just with my clients, but also with myself, with this AI revolution and this wave, this tsunami wave we are riding. And what happened was I ended up in a KFC car park with my kids running around like it was Lord of the Flies crossed with Mission Impossible. And I just had frozen and I had to call my husband to say, come pick the kids up because I can't make head nor tail of the world right now. And this is what I find really happens with high performers who they become a victim of their own capacity. And when we sometimes look at these events in isolation, we think, oh, it's not that big of a deal. But if it's come from weeks, maybe months, oh, that's right, even school holidays gnaws at your inner peace. And then you go straight into school and it's like, oh my gosh, I've never actually had this reset moment. And so for me, this spilled out over 2 days. What had essentially happened was in the lead up to this event, I realized I'd been pushing the AI inputs and outputs, and I'd really dug my heels in for a client where I had to constantly pull back from AI. Like AI wanted to take it up and run. And this is what I'm finding is constantly happening because my work isn't for the masses. My work is really about dismantling conditioning that we have been brought up with, that we don't even know we've been taking on, that's like collectively we believe the patriarchy imposes upon us. And then even in our own family systems, it creates. So when I have to do work for a client, and I'm fighting against AI, trying to make sure it doesn't flatten it, make sure it doesn't make it sound like every other person. I don't know about you, if you have been putting your thoughts into AI and then seeing somebody out there sounding just like you, and you're like, how is this happening? I've had premonitions about this and prophecies about this AI psychosis where we are giving our agency away and our authority away to AI, believing that it's a reflection of us, but it's actually almost like, I don't know if you saw in Peter Pan back in the day, the original, where the shadow, Peter Pan's shadow, sort of takes a life on its own. It's almost like this mirroring back we think is ourselves, but it's actually a projection of ourselves. And so we get taken off on a garden path thinking we're in control, and we've actually been led very, very far off our center. I'd spent hours really, really digging my heels in and doing it on behalf of another client. And now, unfortunately, I was already tired and exhausted. Normally, I spend Mondays just finding my way back to my center after a crazy weekend with children and raising children. And it's just like little creep. It's scope creep that happens. It's schedule creep that happens. And I took on the urgency of my client, which really I'm meant to be the one that holds them and I'm the anchor for them. So if I'm unanchored, then we're both up shit creek without a paddle. But after about, 3, 4, 5 hours of this really like holding deep and holding this like, whoa, making sure AI didn't pull us off track so that we weren't a degree off at the start and then 100 kilometers off down the road, like the Leaning Tower of Pisa. I then had to fall straight into the chaos of motherhood. I tried to grab some of my own time and stayed up late watching and binging some Netflix. And then I'm already fatigued for the next day. And so I never switched off. I just went from one role to the next. And then I realized I hadn't eaten properly. And I was just going home after soccer. And I was like, I'm just going to get one $3 taco. Just one. It's just one $3 taco. That's all I wanted. But the kids then wanted to come along with me. And then I was like, well, I'm not paying for it. You guys can pay for it out of your pocket money. Then I've got kids trying to buy junk food before dinner. And then they're trying to count out 5 cents and 10-cent pieces. And every decision I had to make had a multitude of consequences that I knew for my 4 kids, for myself. And really, it was just meant to be a little snack. And then I had to go back, dive in, and cook them all dinner. And then I just literally froze. I had way too many inputs and I didn't know how to pace myself. Oh, and when I am fatigued, I am vulnerable, as we all are. And we make these decisions. I specifically can often find that I get myself into this pattern where the more tired I am, the more I think I have to finish, and then I can rest. So it's like when you get tired, then you can finish up this job, then you can have a rest. But the more tired I get, the more jobs I try to finish so that I can finally rest. And so it all ended up with me being in the car park, just trying to get a $3 taco so I could go back into the chaos. And now I've frozen. So the very thing that I know is so important for us to do, I was a total hypocrite. Anchoring your authority in this time of the AI revolution and the authenticity crisis is more important than ever. A friend was asking me, what do you think are going to be the high in demand skills that AI won't be able to replace? And it's going to be this level of discernment to know which are the opportunities that you actually want to go all in on, which are just noise, hustle, and kind of treading water opportunities. It's going to be about attunement, recognizing where are you on your trajectory of success? Have you fallen off and into operating out of fear, lack, scarcity, hustle? Have you depleted yourself? Are you overgiving from a state of depletion and creating a version of success that is depleting you? Or are you jacked into your most profitable self-expression? Are you creating actions and energy that is compounding your results over time so that your output, your results are untethered from your time, effort, and energy? And this level of attunement helps you understand when you have outsourced your authority to some external set of circumstances rather than recognizing that you are the creator of your reality, that everything that shows up is a reflection of the identity that you're moving through the world with, the state of your emotions, and the quality of the decisions that you are making and the quality of the actions that you are taking. That those four pieces, who you're being, how you're feeling, what you're doing, and the experience that you're having, is the recipe for creating inside out results that compound over time, that creates a version of success that doesn't come at the cost of your inner peace, of your integrity, or just of your values and what is really important to you. And so I had lots of lovely people reaching out to me, checking that I'm okay. And look, I was able to recognize where I'd become a victim of my own capacity, recognize where my threshold had been overridden by too many inputs and not knowing when to say that is enough. And I think really the punchline for me is, look, I realized enough is enough. I realized more is not more. I had a good couple of nights sleep and I got myself back into my routine. But my real call to action here was that I am the person that strong people call. The ones who are being busy, being strong for everybody else. And even I fell apart. And there are things that are genuinely concerning me about AI and human capacity right now. And that is work that used to take weeks or even months is now happening in hours. AI is accelerating everything, and we are lagging in our embodiment to catch up to what that really means for us. It's like we've been handed these 1,000cc motorbikes and we really are only ready for a scooter. And this is where we have to be so discerning of what enough even looks like. Because when we have these maladaptive relationships to success, when we really are standing on the shoulders of giants, on our ancestors that traveled, that wandered the world, that came to our country with nothing, that built things up from scratch, or then there are certain elements there that are no longer relevant. We really are the answer to our ancestors' prayers. But we don't have this embodied trigger of knowing that was enough. Like that was good. You can put the shovel down now because you've just compressed weeks, months, years into a single 90-minute session. But internally, if you haven't met, I've worked hard long enough to deserve this quota, which is just a settler, hard work equals success paradigm. It's like a thirst that can't be quenched. And the tools have given us more capacity, but it's just filling us more work. And so what I'm really noticing is that anchoring, that inner sense of certainty that we know, okay, there's the satisfaction there. We know we've done enough. Most of us have never even had it modeled by our hardworking parents and grandparents. But now we're pushing for limits that we've even lost sight of and goals that we've stopped questioning. So are we actually integrating anything? The breakthroughs are real, but are we actually imbibing it, digesting it, turning into energy, turning into muscle, turning into applied wisdom in our bodies, in our business? Because what I'm seeing is we don't know when to stop because the tools don't stop. So we don't either. And what I find is that high performers don't break at the hard parts. They break at the accumulation. It's months of, I can figure this out by myself. And each thing on its own is manageable, is handleable. But then one day it just breaks and it's never the big thing. It's just something small and stupid, like my $3 taco. And then you beat yourself up because you should have known better. You should have seen it coming. But that is the catch 22. If you'd seen it coming, then you would have pushed through that too, because that's what we do. And this is really a call to arms about recognizing that we aren't going to find this everlasting expression, abundance, self-sustaining connection by being more capable, because that capacity to be the fixer is what got you here. But now we're being in like the frog in the pot of water that's slowly getting hotter. We've just been adapting at each degree. And we don't know that now the pot of boiling water is boiling and it's putting us at risk of losing sight of what we're even here for and why we're even doing it. We're just sort of in this frenetic churning of like, I don't know what to do with this spaciousness that AI is actually creating for me. And so it's like just treading water and never really knowing what arriving feels like. And so under pressure, this is where we hand over our own authority. When you're depleted, you stop making quality decisions. You start running on everyone else's urgency, their deadlines, their priorities. And it's like everyone playing musical chairs where the music keeps getting faster and faster. And nobody just thinks we can just turn the fucking music off and stop playing the game and sit and rest. Where you just stop and go, is any of this urgency actually yours? Or is it some systemic nervous system template that you've inherited from world events, from your community, from the doom and gloom, or just a very strengthened neural pathway that feels bad emotions and then looks for the evidence of it to support it, to be like, yep, there we go. I'm feeling the sense of dread. Why am I feeling the sense of dread or the sense of anxiety? And then looking for the reasons to back that up. Because if you don't have the ability to discern between these, like manufactured urgency or not real urgency, or I mean, even fear, false evidence appearing real, if you don't have the ability to separate the two, then you just keep on running on this fake fuel. And the further you get from your own inner knowing. And then one day you look up and you realize you've just been sprinting in somebody else's directions for days, for weeks, for months, maybe even years. And so today I feel like it's only apt for me to go through a short clearing process with you, which is using my anchored authority methodology just to help you in the times where you realize you're outsourcing your authority, you're waiting for external circumstances to change before you give yourself permission to stop, to slow down, to say that's enough, to now to start following what you do if AI had completely replaced your job. Because it's this level of aliveness that is the only commodity, it's the only currency left, the ability to harness that sense of knowing in your body that is in conjunction with your higher self wisdom. So this is called a consciousness clear. This is something we're going to do in 5 minutes because I've got a client next. So first, I'm just going to tune in collectively for all the listeners of Expansion Codes, for all the high performing entrepreneurial women who are dedicated to contributing in a meaningful way, who want to tap into their most profitable self-expression and want to expand from desire and drop the emotional baggage, drop the conditioning, drop all the things that make them lean into pressure because it still feels more familiar than ease does. So what we want to do here is in this moment, how open are we to those higher levels of consciousness, to those higher states of awareness? Because you can't solve a problem from the same level of thinking that created it. So, first thing first, if we got anxiety in our systems, we have to process it. So, big breath in and out. Big breath in. So, signaling to our parasympathetic nervous system that we're safe. And now I'm just going to use my kinesiology chart, my muscle testing to test in how open we are as a collective, and it's 20%. So, what is the relevant priority emotion that we need to clear for here? Metal, lung, large intestine, dogma, guilt, shame, spite, too much mercy to others. So, what I want you to do is just put your thumb and forefinger in between the fleshy part of your other thumb and forefinger. So, this is the large intestine meridian. So, as you're pressing that fleshy part between your thumb and your forefinger, just breathing up, breathing in, and just noticing how you've kind of been a little bit at the whim of everybody else's needs, everybody else's demands. And this is often when we are holding other people's discomfort. We are trying not to cause them harm or pain, but then we're just absorbing it all ourselves. Just having a big breath in, and you might just feel yourself. I guess there's a bit of it's almost like a concentration